Hello, audience. Welcome back. What can I tell you? You know, the most obvious things are so obvious that we don't notice it. Anyway, my suggestion to you is question everything. And one thing that I would like to question is the existence of such thing as collective. Have you ever seen collective? Have you ever seen anything outside your immediate experience? The pixels, the feelings, the sensations that are happening. Have you ever seen anything outside of it? Have you ever experienced anything outside of it? Obviously not, because everything that you experience is in your immediate experience. So what is collective then? Every time you talk about collective, you talk about imagination. You can imagine that there's something else going on in the world besides what you see in front of you, like this, your phone and me talking to you. But there's nothing else going on in life. How do you know that it's empty? Because you cannot experience anything outside your immediate experience. You have to go to the imagination to say what collective is. Isn't it trippy? This is why, like, you may look at the video and think like, oh, the world is going crazy. Yeah, I kind of look around and I see birds and people walking on the beach, and it kind of looks like everything is, my immediate experience is going well. And it probably goes, most of the world is like that. That's very likely that most of the world is like that. But if we start going in our imagination and believing in the existence of the collective, then we start projecting that reality. We start thinking, oh, the world is like that, people like this, and then it propagates that. And then, of course, what happens is then you likely may have that experience in your immediate reality. Your illusion about the collective seeps into your immediate reality. But if we cut the cord at this level and say, well, I've never experienced anything outside my immediate reality, then why do I imagine existence of the collective? Even if you see millions of people in front of you and you watch them, these are just pixels on your screen. You don't know anything like about what they think, what they feel. That collectiveness is a projection. This is why I challenge this view, and I say that collective does not exist. What exists is what's in front of you in that immediate moment. Then you can kind of leave the existence of anything outside you alone. It never existed. Think about it, man. Like, even if you feel something, or if you feel connection with that person, you feel in that moment in your immediate reality. And if someone comes up to you and says, like, world is like that, and then you're like, well, how do you know? Have you seen anything outside your immediate reality? And the answer is no. So how do you know it's like that, right? You watch one video on YouTube. That's the thing. You watch it on the phone, and then you believe that that's what reality is. That's the collective. That the collective exists. I say there is no collective. It's just you and your immediate experience. And why does that matter? I mean, how would you live your life if you only trusted of what you experience? I bet that your life would be way better. I bet that you would have way more peace in your life. I bet that you would stop thinking about the collective. I bet that you would not believe in what they say on the screen. And yeah, I mean, come on the screen. Like, now you're talking to the real person. I'm talking to you. I have no agenda, but the truth, and finding better and more accurate view of the reality. And why am I sharing this with you? Well, because the reality is much more fun when somebody else shares that reality with you. And if people live in this so-called collective, that machine, it's not fun for me because I cannot relate to them. But a person who shares the reality and just experiences what they experiences and trust what they experience, it's a fun person to be around. So in that sense, I'm selfish. I'm looking for the relatives. Isn't it ironic? I talk about no existence of collective, and in a way I'm kind of sending it to the collective, but I'm not sending it to the collective, obviously, because the moment you're going to watch the video, it's going to be personal, but anyway. But look how unreal the reality is. Like, if you had no phone, everything is amazing in this world. Everything's amazing. It seems to me that the most problems come from this idea and the belief that the collective exists, and then you watch the video and then you think that that's what's going on in the world. And then of course that you propagate that. You see that it's a trap. It's a trap. This is like a negative feedback. This is why it goes towards a negative feedback, There's somebody posts something on the phone, plays with your beliefs, you believe it, manifest, more comes up. But if you cut the cord and say, there is nothing going on outside my immediate reality, why do I need to worry about something else? And you don't put your energy to it anymore. You don't propagate that. And that may as well start changing in your immediate reality. You start seeing different types of videos, you start seeing different type of people. Because this negative loop is dangerous thing. That's why I'm not buying into it. You can see right now it gets a little bit more obvious how artificial it all is. You start seeing like there's an AI voice, talking to you. You scroll through your fucking Instagram and it's an AI voice talking to you. The video is made by the AI or made through the manipulative techniques to play with your emotions and your fears and your triggers and play with your hard wiring of your mind. And people act very strange, like clowns, like they open up the video, and not like I am clowning around, because I'm just having fun, but you can see it's like artificial. You open the video and they want to get your attention, so they do something clearly pre-planned and to grab your attention, and usually they make fool out of themselves. And it's all artificial, it's all pre-planned, it's all fucking manipulative, you know? And then very few people are actually talking to you for real. And then that machine tells you what it's like, you know, what it is, and it plays with your reality. Why would why would you trust that? It's designed to manipulate you. So do you think it has a good intentions? So why don't we just live a life as if anything that is happening right in front of us? Because you see, the mind is going to do that. Like something is happening, and then the mind is going to start creating stories because it believes in that existence of the collective, you know? And you may challenge this and say, like, wait a second, so if there is no collective, then am I just like alone in this game? On one level, pretty much, but a lot of people may not be ready for this reality. For the reality that everything that you see outside of you is you, not in the sense that it's separate and now it's you. It's because it's always been you, because you've always been projecting it. Every pixel and every experience, it's you, you know? And but it's not in a way where it's just a manipulative way of saying like, well, we're all one, so we have to love each other and stuff like that. Good luck with that. That's not like that, because if you live life, you start seeing that the importance of the discernment, importance to say, no, I don't have any wish to engage into this. There's one way to be sort of reactive because you still have a beef with it, but then when the beef goes away, you can just have like a compassion, strong no, like there's a, you know, and just say like, no, thank you. Because, well, that kind of brings me to the subject of empathy. And why do I think that, again, through my own experience, you know, I've tested it out. Why do I think that empathy, all empathy to a person is waiting to be a disaster? That empathy is the attachment. Everybody's talking about let go of attachment, let go of attachment. Empathy is the attachment. Empathy is that chord with everybody believes. It's your openness to a person which contains a huge flaw in it. Why is it the flaw? Because empathy means that whatever happens to that person, whatever vibration they may connect to, or whatever, in what spirit may be taking over them. Again, don't need to believe in anything paranormal, because people colloquially say it like is moving or she's moving in this spirit, right? So that's pretty much the mood, if you will. And if you have that person in a negative mood, then you have the empathy for that person, you're going to be dragged into it. You were happy, but the mood changed in that person, and then you stop being happy. So now you're being dragged downwards, right? Then you can say, well, wait a second, so if we don't have an empathy to people, like we're going to be very cold people. And I challenge that. I don't think so. I think we're going to be very warm people, because there's one way to cut the empathy completely and become like apathetic person and cold and enclosed. Of course, that's not what I'm talking about. But there's another way, is to close the empathy to a personality, because there's a huge flaw in it, because I'm going to get to why, and open that empathy to a state of consciousness, that compassionate state of consciousness. You can call it spirit, if you will, or states. Doesn't matter. You open to these states. And when you have the empathy to these states, to these spirits, to these energies that make you feel loved, or you know, uh, whatever that is, it's a personal to each person. But you're not going from I'm gonna close my heart completely. You say I'm gonna close my heart to the person, open my heart to the spirit. Okay. What happens then is that you do access these states. You do feel a lot of compassion in your heart. You do feel a lot of love in your heart. And then when you move around other people and they change their mood and they become negative towards you, there's no trigger. You cannot push the button. What happens is that they have to make a choice now. They either fuck off, they, you know, really. I should just say that they normally cannot stay in your vibe because you're vibing too happy. They can't stand it. They can't fucking stand your happiness. You know what I'm saying? So they have to leave, or they have to let their shit go and surrender to the happiness or the happy state or compassion, whatever you want to call it. So they have to match your vibration if you're indeed connected to the good feeling vibe, but you never let your vibe to be dropped down a notch. You have a duty and responsibility for yourself and other people to stay in the vibe that is dope and awesome. And this is the way you protect yourself, is to letting go of all the empathy. And then the people have to change their state of consciousness, go to much higher compassionate states to connect with you. If they want to have a connection with you, they have to let go of their bullshit, start vibing at your level, and then you can have very nice interaction, very joyful, very even, you know, empathetic. But that empathy goes through the spirit, not through the person. Why am I saying this? Is because it's a fallacy to have empathy to the person, because the person isn't. What is the person? Because it's not just one thing. Person is like a vessel that can contain a good spirit, a bad spirit, one mood, another mood, right? So if you empathetic to the vessel, whatever the mood comes in, that's the transition, that's the energy that's going to be transited to you. And you see there's a fallacy in it, because you say, if you say like, well, no, I really don't want like that, something that brings me down, because in the essence there is no reason to be brought down. And then you can say, well, what brings me down is my own attachment to the person, rather than having that attachment to the spirit that I want to feel. This way you sort of like ignore the negativity. Not in a sense, you know, it's not like you're running away from it. Now you can look at it and have no trigger about it. That's another level. I mean, this is what we're trying to have here. But as you can see, that's in essence is a discernment. I think of course that you can word it many ways, but this is the way I'm saying, and I think that this is the way the true boundaries work. Because you want to isolate and cut off all the attachment to something that can bring you down. Then you walk around in a vibration that is impenetrable. And if people want to start joining you on that happy vibe, they can. And if they don't, they don't. But you never change your vibe. And if people cannot be in that vibration, cannot be in that happy vibe, then they have to go on them by themselves and do their own little internal work until they realize that Whatever the energy took over them wasn't their priority either. And this way you cannot be manipulated anymore. Because this is, right now in this reality, this is how they get you, through the empathy. And in the essence, you become a happy person who only allows the vibration of another person who is happy. Or if they're unhappy, then at least you're always inviting them, cheering them up, so to speak, to let go of that shit. But you're not moving down, because the second you move it down, now nobody wins. Everybody loses.